Kylan, we heard Brad say on the radio that you guys need to grow a little bit in the late game. What do you see with that in terms of areas to improve to get more of what you want in the end of game situations?
Communication. I've been on really good teams. One thing that I feel like was never lacking in a sense was how aggressive and how intense we were on the defensive end communicating. And I think that just starts with me, being in the practice, making sure that we pick that side up and put more effort into it. You can strike fear into teams. I said that before, and you never have mishaps and some late switches or something like that if everybody's just on the same page.
Yes, you mentioned communication a few times. Is that just a factor of a bunch of new guys playing together, or do you just think that it's anything more than that?
I think, yeah, young, new, being in those type of games, a lot of them don't know, situations like that. I think it's good, though, that these type of games are happening, earlier on the side of the season against really good teams, and we can watch the film and realize, little stuff like that we can just make sure we close out a game.
Was the style of this game maybe what you expected going in, and maybe how do you feel like your team handled what was kind of stop and start, maybe not a lot of flow with all the foul calls?
No, for sure. They're a great defensive team as well. It was a really gross game in the first half, but we knew they were going to be very, very physical. They were going to be aggressive on the defensive end. Excuse me. But, we expected that. We watched a lot of film on them. They did a great job. But I feel like, even though with how good a defensive side they were, I think we'd still executed our stuff.
To pick up 2 fouls early and then sit on the bench for a while, what did it take for you mentally to come out and finish with 2 fouls, play hard defense regardless of that?
That doesn't faze me. I'm trying to win the game at all times. I feel like that's my fault. I can't put myself in those situations where I got to come out early. Lanier did a great job tonight. Really good, really, really good player. But yeah, that's on me. I can't put myself in those type of situations and not be out there for my team.
I guess when you talk about knowing how good you guys are as a team, but how do you kind of balance that perspective of maybe the big picture of how good you think you are versus the emotions of a game like this?
Yeah.
How do you balance the perspective of knowing kind of the big picture of where you think you guys can go, but also kind of the emotions, the hard emotions of losing a game like this? How do you kind of balance those two things?
Worry about Missouri now. I feel like it's the biggest mentality. Can't go back and change the game. We can just watch the film, fix the little things that we need to work on, and continue to put trust into each other and to Coach Underwood. But when you know how great you are, you can't get little stuff like this. You can't let it bother you too much.
Really high-level basketball game. They're number one for a reason, and they're. I think we stressed them. They stressed us. We got better today, even though they had 2 more points than us. Had the ball last and made the play. So much respect for Rick, the job that he's done. Everywhere he's been along the way, they have always been a winner. And you know what you're getting. That made our team better today. A game that was a rock fight. I don't know if any 2 teams could literally shoot it any worse in the first half. I thought that we were fortunate to be in a position at half with Tommy playing 8 or 9 minutes, Bam out of the game. Lanier got going in the first half, 17 points on 17 shots. I'll take that, most every single night. But then I thought the couple of deciding things. I thought Milicic on the glass was really big. We let Gainey get going. We had a 6-point lead in a stretch where we didn't guard. What's number 8's name? Anyway, he hits a 3, and then we lose Gainey right off a little floppy action, and he hits a 3 and let him get his head up and get going. But, wish I had the last 5 seconds over. I would have called timeout, and give Gainey credit. He made a heck of a play. But that's where this team has to continue to grow and I've got to help them grow with communication. Ran a bad side out of bounds play, the one we always run. Didn't execute it, and you do those in the last couple minutes, you're going to lose to number one, and we did today.
Brad, can you take us through that last play? Were you close to calling timeout, or just what did you see when it was all unfolding? Because obviously it happened really quick.
No, I think it's just common sense that you want to call a timeout after a free throw so you can get your defense set. We always push like we did at the end of regulation to get there. Anytime there's 10 seconds or under, we actually practice, we push. KJ got fouled. So they just flipped it. I should have called the timeout. Point blank, I should have called the timeout after KJ made the free throw, game tied, got our defense set. We weren't quite where we needed to be, and 5 seconds was a long time in a game that, we made the play.
Brad, how much of the late game stuff do you think is youth related, new team? What do you?
That doesn't matter. That's on me. We've got to do a better job. We try to work on situations daily. It's hard to work on all of them. I thought we handled the other side of it pretty well. We KJ, Bam. We talk about getting it into the paint, getting fouled. They did that part of it beautifully. I never want to call a timeout on offense in that situation because I don't want to face a set defense or a change of defense. That side of it worked great. But again, you've got to execute and on both sides of it, and they did a better job than we did.
Brad, your team 11 turnovers tonight only. Just wanted to get your thoughts on just how you thought they performed against that defense from Tennessee.
Yeah, they're no joke now. And I may be wrong. I think they've won every game by at least 15. I think they've beaten the brakes off people. And they do it because of their defense. And I knew it was going to be a really ugly game offensively, or had a feeling it would be. And because I think we're really good defensively. And, but it's the, 11 turnovers, a pretty low number against them. But it's still, the couple that we had that you want back. We got to be able to clean those up. And I thought there was a couple fouls that could have been called, and I've never heard of that rule before that you got to be in a shooting motion if you get your arms swiped. Never heard of that, so I got to look that one up in the book. I got to send that one in to Terry and see what he tells me. But he said he was trying to draw a foul and not in the shooting motion, and he wasn't going to give him a call because of that. So I've never heard of that. I've done this 38 years. So, but yeah, we can't turn that. That ends up being a turnover late, and we can't do that.
Kylan talked about communication. You talked about communication, helping them grow. Like, what does that look like from your vantage point?
Huddling, understanding what I'm thinking on the court, not always having to use a timeout. Kylan does a great job of it for the most part, and it's the winning basketball mentality is all it is, and it's the everybody knows what we're doing. It's working on those situations enough that they automatically know, hey, we're going to foul or we're going to do this, and it's I'm not using youth. That's not it. That's we've got to play at the level that we want to play at. We've got to be dialed into that, and I got to do a better job of that.
Brad, you forced 20 dribble jumpers today. Like, that's by far the most Tennessee shot this year. Like, how do you feel like your process is defensively right now?
It's what we do. It's what we do. We don't want to give you threes. We don't want to give you, catch and shoot threes. We're going to try to take them away. We thought we executed our game plan pretty well. We were, pretty soft on, Akpara wasn't even involved, but, and then we just, Meshack had been 3 games. He's only had 3 games in his career where he's taken over 6 shots. I was hoping he would take 26 because we weren't going to guard him and clog all the other stuff up. So, again, they found enough from Gainey, but a couple of those were scouting report mistakes, and we'll get better at those.
Coach, with so many guys with 2 fouls there in the first half, what's your thoughts on managing that situation, minutes-wise, and balancing that with not wanting them to make a run?
Yeah, that was easy because the game was close. We were right there. If the game had gone, I bought Kylan a minute or two. Trey had a few. Tommy had picked up a couple of, just protecting the rim. But as long as the game was close, I didn't have to go much either way. I thought our bench did a nice job of fighting that, I thought that was pretty easy as long as the game was close.
You mentioned Tennessee's physical style yesterday. How'd you feel your guys stood up to it, and what does it mean? Where do you carry that going forward? Yeah,
I actually thought that, and I just told our coach, I thought the Northwestern game was much more physical. The only difference was they didn't call any fouls for 18 minutes in the first half of the Northwestern game, and now we shoot 60 in the first half of this one. And, so if that's all I told the officials going into halftime, just call the second half like you called the first. But physicality is part of the game. That's Big Ten play. It's the common thread that we know we're going to get when you face Michigan State or when you face some of these big teams. And Rick's won a lot of games because his teams guard. And I don't care if you go back to Kevin Durant led teams or you go back to any of his others, TJ Ford and all those other great ones he's had at Texas. His teams always guard, and there's always a physicality about them.
How do you maybe navigate a half like the first half where you just can't get any kind of rhythm offensively because of the start and stop nature?
Go to the free throw line, 30, or what do we go, 20? How many free throws we shoot? I don't have my glasses. Go to the free throw line. I have zero control over what happens offensively in terms of shooting the ball, in terms of going in. All we did was live in the paint, and we got fouled. And I am so happy about that. That's the way the game's being called today. Have you guys ever seen a charge called anymore? So why would you just not be a head rammer and just drive the ball, and keep driving the ball until they call fouls? And if you do that and pitch it out, shoot threes. And so the game's never going to be pretty when it's like that, but if that's what it takes to beat Tennessee, we're going to do that. Gosh, you guys let me off easy. Oh,
Brad, I guess Stat Broadcast has you for 8 of 17 on layups. You just talked about their physicality and the way they defend the rim. You're going to see that in Big Ten play. Is that a product of how Tennessee guards, and is it concerning to you, or is it something that you've got to figure out how to finish?
Yeah, we got to finish. You can't get any better shot in the layup, and you got to be on balance, and you got to, I would much rather us get fouled than shoot a layup. I would much rather us, instead of going up there and throwing something, and I would just 2-foot jump stop and get fouled, because those are all, there's a negative reaction that has to happen on that other bench when you get fouled. So, but yeah, we got to make them. We got to make them. And, you shoot under 50% on the easiest shot in the game. So let's get fouled.
I know 2 different situations, but the 2 sideline inbounds, the one that KJ had to get from the corner and the one that the pick 6, did you see anything like a common thread on those, or what was your vantage point on each of those?
Poor execution. Plain and simple.
Obviously, you'll continue to encourage Will to take shots, but is there anything you're seeing with him that he needs to settle into or to get going again after a really hot start to the season?
It's what happens when you get off to a really hot start and you start not playing 30-point win bye games. It's really simple. You start You know, I wish we didn't have to play any of those bye games and let them all be real games like this one. That's how you get better. And you don't build false realities. He's at the top of the scouting report. He's a great, great player. And I just want him to keep shooting open shots because he's an elite shooter, and some of those deals are going to happen. Okay, thank you. Thank you.